I think that's it.
Okay, last one is from Anonymous, and they say, I have been trying to work on myself and find what I am lacking within myself in light of a recent relationship ending. I have been reading and watching videos, mostly yours, like crazy, over the past month, and have started to feel better and get to know myself more through it. However, my desire to improve as fast as possible leads me to feel like I have too much to think about, and I'm afraid I might end up more confused than before I started self-improving. Do you think a person can overindulge in self-help or take in too much information in too little time and end up worse because you can't focus on one thing at a time? I feel like I'm thinking too much about what I should be doing / feeling. P.S. I have not started just because of the relationship ending, but because I have been feeling like my life was lacking even before this. I'm 19 years old and in college.
Great. Yeah, no, I mean, you nailed it. Your intuition is dead on. That here's the good news. I'm glad that you said your age, because this is something I have to remind myself at 32, 13 years older than you, is that there's, if I'm fortunate, so much time. Like the rush that I know that you probably feel to get out of this uncomfortable situation of post-breakup and into the type of person that this could never happen to again, right? I get that. I've lived it, and I still need to tell myself, slow down. There's so much time. What your challenge is, and mine to this day, is in integrating what you know. And when I say integrating, I mean making all of the things that you have cognitively read and perhaps could recite and get on a test, because that's what learning has been to you if you've been in the school system up until now. Getting them into your body, such that, for instance, if you're learning charisma, it's one thing to know, oh, like, let me tell you about how to make good eye contact, and like, here are the 5 keys to a story, versus consistently telling stories that show those 5 elements.
No, and just to be clear, I do not think binge watching our channel is the best way to become charismatic.
No.
In fact, if you were to join Charisma University or see inside it, it is not multi-hour days that lay out 10 things to do that day. It's 20 to 30 minutes, one thing to focus on for the day. And often I even suggest do the week on amazing first impressions and then come back to it and do it again. It's the how to improve yourself is not 80% watching videos, 20% putting into life. It's 10% trying to figure out areas that you can improve, 90% turning those into habits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that making sense?
Yeah, 100%.
And so I think you're dead on that if you binge watch every Charisma on Command video and every Alpha M video and every whatever else, that you will feel overwhelmed because you're consuming too much, such that it's actually impossible to implement it all at once because you can't focus that much, right? So instead, like, just for Charisma University, you'd have a day where all you focused on was touching people in a way that made you feel connected.
Sure.
You wouldn't have to worry about your eye contact or what you said. You just have your normal conversations with no pressure to make them better, but with the one focus on the certain elements of touching in a certain way. And you, if you're not in a program because you're 19 and maybe you don't have the money to invest, I would suggest set that up for yourself. So instead of watching 100 videos, pick the one thing. Is fitness your thing? Is charisma your thing? Is money your thing? And then within that, go, okay, charisma is going to be my thing. All I'm going to worry about is making my friends laugh more because I want to be funny and I want to make people smile. And I'm going to watch 1 or 2 videos about how to be funnier, and then I'm going to stop. And I'm going to just focus on implementing some of the stuff that I learned.
Yeah. And even then, I mean, if you think the gym is a great thing, because if you can overtrain in the gym and you can kill your gains, like, you need rest, not only in a given day. So when you're learning charisma, what I tell people is pick a time of day that starts and stops, and you are consciously thinking, okay, I'm going to do this thing in this period. But once you get to the end of that, stop. And if you find yourself going, oh, I need to do this, go, I'm done for the day. I lifted. I did it.
If you want to, if you find yourself in a conversation, you're focusing on being funny and you want to tell another joke.
Sure.
But tell the jokes. There's no pressure. There's no self-flagellation if you don't. There's this one thing. We're extreme. We like to put money on the line where it's like, I'm going to pay someone $100 or I'm going to burn $100 if I don't do this thing. And then once that's done, everything else is just bonus.
Sure. And what I hear in your question that I assume is, so you've got the pain of this breakup, and there's 2 reasons that you're watching the videos. One is to get better, but the second is to distract yourself. And if you want to watch our videos to distract yourself, by all means, go ahead. But don't feel that you need to implement everything that you're doing. And similarly, don't feel that playing basketball with friends is a worse use of your time, because you can only learn and integrate so much in a time period.
Yeah,
once you've done that, you've hit your cap, and you go, you know what? What I need now is distraction.
Go to The Witcher.
Just as good.
Go to The Witcher. No, it's better. I truly think this. Like, watch a couple videos, find something that resonates with you that you want to work on, and then like separate your time and just admit what you're doing to yourself. Oh, this is distraction time. Cool. I'm going to go to a bar and talk to girls because they temporarily remove the pain of missing my ex. All right, cool. Just be honest about it and then go do it. I actually think it's something that a lot of people deal with. You're not alone. A lot of people try to binge improve stuff, get overwhelmed, and then just give up completely. So you're right in line with that, and that's not how we're meant to learn things, especially things that are meant to be habitual.
One thing that I will say is that at 19, you're a college student. I do think that you can have a handful of buckets in your life at this time. And so what I see that has been really excellent for 19-year-old guys is fitness being a part of it, meaning like you're going to the gym, you feel cool, you feel more handsome. So that's something you do for 45 minutes a day, and that's great. In addition to that, you can have one social goal a day, right? Like, you know, what at this point on my college thing, I'm going to go in, I'm going to introduce myself to these people with a handshake. That's done for the day.
If you want to meet people in a closed circle, by the way, like college, hey, I don't think I've met you yet. I'm Ben. Single best way I've ever found to start a conversation at a college party or college bar.
And then you've got what I would say is a grab bag. So you've obviously, you got your studies, but let's say that you join the Latin dancing club and they meet twice a week. You go, you schedule in your calendar. In the end of 6 months, I will know a bit of salsa dancing because I'm going to these classes, right? You show up there. And then of course, in there, probably is a large portion of time, you have your academics and all of the things that you're forced to do for university, which includes going to class as well as studying and doing your work. That should be, along with eating and socializing, which will happen naturally, a pretty full day and an excellent amount of self-improvement at your age.
Dude, I've gone harder at learning charisma than I think anyone. You could only tie me, right? But even at my most obsessed, in a given day, I would only think about one or two things. And so I'd wake up and I'd be like, today is going to be how to start a conversation day. And if I start 10 conversations and they all go terribly, but I start them all, I get an A+.
Well, you were doing 10 and I wouldn't even recommend
No, I'm saying I was crazy. I was obsessed with learning charisma. And even then, what I would do is I'd go really hard at 1 to 2 things. I wouldn't try to be like, okay, because I'm going to dedicate 5 hours to this, I'm going to do 50 different things. I was just like, I'm going to nail starting a conversation with strangers. And then tomorrow, maybe if I manage to nail that, because I just obsessed with it for 5 hours and I go get 100 reps, I'll worry about how to make the next 2 minutes of the conversation good. But I'm saying that even if charisma is your number one thing, you still focus on one thing. You just spend more time on it. And then, by the way, even if you spend 5 hours on it, you still have 11 hours with which you should go to the gym, see friends, focus on your studies. So yeah, definitely, I think it's okay to focus on multiple different areas to self-improve. But within our specific one of charisma, you really, even when you're going hard at it, your best bet is just to perfect one thing and then move on to the next thing.